Attempt number 2. Trying to figure out why I am not streaming. Hey, there we are. Well, welcome anybody that checks in on this at a later date. I totally screwed that up and had to update my drivers. So lame technology. I'm such a boomer. Well, so here we are. I'm going to be painting the Lethis Freeguild Marshall. So that's roughly where I am. I started by when I was building the kit, I wanted to do something a little different, and so I have done a lot of head swaps and used parts from Acadia, used different heads from a bunch of kits because, you know, us mini people, we have so many bits, and so I chose one of the female heads from the cavalry unit. And then this was the shield that I painted the other day. Went for kind of a Lethis scheme. I'm doing multiple schemes with these just because they're a fun get to use. Hey there, Nighthawk Studios. Thanks for showing up after it took me forever to get it working. Glad to have you, Tom. So I started by painting the shields up on 4 different units, 4 different color schemes, and just kind of enjoying painting the different versions. But I wanted to make my Marshall the Lethis, just because I thought it was cool, and purple cloaks are interesting. But yeah, so lots of head swaps in the unit. So Lethis has the kind of purplish with dark wood color scheme. Let's see there. There you kind of see it. I haven't gone over the transfer since. So not too complicated, but I've been wanting to paint this model, so we'll see how far we get in the next hour, hour and a half. I reuse my wet palette quite a bit, so it always looks kind of funny when I start up again from scratch. But yeah, so goal today is I'm going to do purple on the cloak, and then I'm also going to do a darker color scheme with the armor. We'll see how I feel about it once we get up and running, but nice big cloak, lots of shape. So I've been trying out the new Game Color Vallejo stuff, and this was what I used on the shield. Was Evil Red, and then I kind of wet blended in the Gory Red, and then used a little bit of the disc glazes in, trying to make this not an overly complicated paint scheme overall. What I'll probably do is add in one of my favorite older Vallejo colors, which is Salmon Rose. Just a really nice addition to these colors. You know, it just brings it in. A little bit of yellow in it, nice little pinkish color. So for the most part, starting a little messy, just going to layer on. I'll need to add some more on here, but it's a nice saturated purple color. And I've enjoyed using these new model colors. They actually come out really nice. They've got a nice saturation to them. They go easy in the airbrush. They go easy wet blending. I haven't had any issues with them as of so far. And I'm usually pretty messy with these off the bat because I know I'm going to come in with the Duncan Roads second coat. I'm not really watering down at all at this point. I really like this Cities of Sigmar models that have been coming out. I'm excited to get more of them. Never really played any of the Sigmar stuff, but I have a lot of the models. Fantasy is very much one of the areas that I almost collect. Do we call the Closet of Doom collection? Right, Tom? I know you're probably still working, Tom. I appreciate you showing up. One of two people checking in. One of the things I was debating when picking some paint schemes was more a lot of the heads that I added on are wounded. So there's guys with eye patch, there's characters with eye patches, headbands that look like they've been injured, and they're kind of, I think I used a bunch of heads from one of the Cadia kits because there's a lot of injured heads in there. Just thought it'd be fun to have more of a, if I ever did play, better said if I met anybody that did play and had the time to do that. I thought it'd be kind of fun to have a united group where it's all the injured people left over from whatever battles have been happening. So that lets me try out different paint schemes, and essentially, as long as I could, play in friendly games or whatever, I can switch rules here and there if I'd rather try one of the different armies after testing them out. So still trying to think of how to unite them all together on their banners. Oh no, Tom, going shopping. I know, that's a good idea. I'm trying not to spend any money. This was definitely a kit that I broke down and bought. What are you thinking of purchasing when you go and make a glorious mistake, as you put it? I love they just happen to be in the area. Isn't that how it always works? I just happen to be by a store where I spend a lot of my money. Iron Hands transfers for the 30K army. Nice. I actually did go into 3 stores yesterday, and I did not buy a single thing. Aren't you proud of me? Oh, Ferrus Manus, yeah. I'm debating on repainting my Ferrus Manus Primarch model. Oh yeah, you weren't here for that. So, first stream, painted up. Started painting on my my Angron model, and took a different color scheme with it. No airbrush used, all painted by hand, and I'm pretty happy with how it's coming out so far. Just didn't feel like hopping back into that this afternoon. Yeah, that Ferrus Manus model is pretty cool. I would like to. I'm heavily debating. That was one of the first Primarchs I painted. I painted Horus first, and then I think I painted Perturabo, and then Fulgrim, And that's where I kind of ended the Primarch painting for a while, and then I just got back into it recently. Yeah, I've seen a bunch of your Shadowpoint stuff. It's looking really nice. What's the difference between Shatterpoint and say Legion? Is it much more Jedi and powers oriented? Right now, I just mixed up a little bit of a combination of the what is it, Gory Red and Evil Red. I'm just adding in a little bit more color on the shoulders here. I'm going to leave the bottom end a little bit darker, add some scratches. Oh, it's hard to kill a model in the game. Well, where's the fun in that? You know, I really love a lot of the new models coming out. The only complaint I would have is it is a little difficult to modify some of it. Okay, well, I totally understand you liking a more strategic game. Makes total sense. That's much more your bag of tricks. There's a couple of really cool versions of this model. Darren Latham did a really good paint job on his that he did. He always does a good paint job, so it's like you hardly need to give him credit. There's a painter named NRM Paint who did an awesome Lethis version as well. Added in a little bit of the salmon color. Watching an episode. Oh, it's like watching an episode of the Clone Wars. Interesting. I didn't make it through the whole Clone Wars. It was I made it a couple seasons in. That's not wasn't 100% my bag of chips, I guess. I just, you know, I get it was more for kids. But I'm glad you enjoyed it. I like the character of Ahsoka a lot. Recently painted an Ahsoka bust, which if you've been to my Instagram, you've seen it as, or maybe not. I don't know if I posted it yet. I may paint another one. Seemed like people liked it. Yeah, everybody says that the later episodes were better. I don't know. I really liked the old Dark Forces stuff. The no longer considered canon stuff was what I grew up on, and so it was like reading Timothy Zahn books and all of those, you know, because I mean there's even I think I even have some comics that were like the really old, like beginnings of the Jedi, or you know, like the beginnings of them developing their lightsabers, and those were all really good. I mean, the show is fine. I like the fact that they were doing a show during the Clone Wars with Anakin. I felt like he got cheated in the movies a little bit. Great actor, but just not the most rewarding lines of dialogue, shall we say. Oh, hello, Logan. Thanks for coming in. I'm excited to see photos of your massive Lego castle. I'm painting a little plastic person, so there's no shame in saying that you're a fan of Legos. You hate sand. No, never. No shame. No shame. You know, I briefly thought about listening to rugby once I got things up and running so that I could, and then I realized I wouldn't say anything to anybody because I would be so focused on painting and listening to rugby. But yeah, I made a better decision not to do that. Well, so here we are, just kind of hit a three-way point. Nothing is super neat yet. I'm just kind of blocking everything in. Same three colors from earlier. Same three. And come in with little highlights, and then I'm going to start doing a little glazing. Simple glazing, dirty glazing. I hate glazing. Glizzing? Hot dogs? What? Somebody say hot dogs? Glizzies? What? I'm kind of confused by these people that are doing these NPC things where you can like pay them to say stuff and you like give them money and they have to say whatever it is. I know that's like a popular thing to do right now, I guess, or to like mess with people. That stuff just weirds me out a little bit. I don't get it. I was watching South Africa play against Tonga before coming on stream. It was an old game from last week, or from the weekend that I missed, and it looked like, in the words of the referee, it looked like a pretty cracking game. I'm excited to get back into it tonight. All of y'all should get into rugby more. Come on now. Logan, you want your kids to watch rugby. You don't want them watching any other lame sports like, you know, soccer. Just kidding. Hey, Logan, have you watched that what's that Ryan Reynolds documentary about his soccer team that he and that other actor have been doing? Was it Wexham? Oh, you're watching soccer now? Who's playing? Okay. I can't remember. Are you an AC Milan fan? Is that your jam? wonder if... I think Peacock might have Champions League now, right? I don't remember. I'll have to go and look back at it. Okay. Oh, I could be watching that with you, but instead, I'm gonna paint. Went and helped some retired guys earlier today, cleaning up a property. Donated a couple hours to pick up one of those retaining fences. It's like basically metal rods and then a bunch of like plastic tarp. Seems like my stream. Seems like the stream bugged out for a second there. Hi, I'm a boomer. Yeah, we'll see how this new update goes that I had to download to come on here and paint today. We'll probably just mess everything up. Is it working on your end now, Logan? Well, it says it's still live. We'll see. I guess you'll tell me if it's totally jacked up on your end. Oh, hey. Tom's shopping. We don't want to bother him with foosball stories. I'm excited for oh man, he got the Ferris. It'll be interesting to see what you do there, buddy. I didn't know you were an Iron Hands fanatic. Ireland had a bye week last week, back to rugby, which is the most important thing ever to talk about, especially when you're painting. Ireland had a bye week. This week they play Scotland. I'm really excited for that game. Yeah. I mean, you kind of just expect Ireland to win at this point, playing against Scotland, since they've dominated in Six Nations. And, I mean, Scotland can be really good, but they're fun to watch play. They're very chaotic, and I enjoy it. You know, there's some real talent there. They just haven't been able to, like, even though I think Ireland can sometimes be a little too predictable with their sneaky little moves that they do all the time. Like, they'll do these little moves, and it's when they convince people they're doing it and they fake them out. That's when it works out the best. But I'm excited for it. There's some good games this weekend. Last weekend was a little bit light on the really good contests. So I'm hoping that this weekend we get back in. Man, we're getting down. I think this is the last weekend before we go to the quarterfinals. It's not Irish being sneaky. They just have an interesting. They've been doing this whole like fake people out thing that not a lot of the teams do. A lot of teams maintain the they punch. You know, it's all about the big hits, which is kind of like New Zealand, Australia. I mean, they have a lot. They do a lot of things, but Ireland does these little whip around passes that not everybody else does, and they can be a little predictable. I forget what game it was. It seemed like they got a little bit bound up trying to do their sneakiness. I don't know if I can actually really call it sneakiness, per se. It's more just the style of play. But who knows? I mean, it's always, until you get into the semifinals, it's anybody's game a lot of times. There's usually at least one or two teams in the pool that could go. I mean, they beat South Africa, and that's in their pool, and South Africa would be high up on the charts. I don't know if I missed any Atlanta United games recently. So it looks like right here that there's a shoulder pad underneath. So if it looks weird, that's because I'm pretending there's a shoulder pad giving these patterns here, if anybody cares. I'm just going back with my colors and glazing a little bit, a little messy glazing. Messy glizzies. Sounds kind of weird. Messy glizzies. So I almost pulled out a bust to paint this afternoon, but I've been wanting to paint this Freeguild Marshall for a little bit. I got this interesting Batman bust that's been sitting out, but I noticed that it has a little bit of damage on the mask, so I'm just going to kind of use it as a test piece. There's a lot of Batman models out there for sure. Oh, there's this interesting Bollywood style movie that I'm hoping to watch called RRR. Looks really interesting. Like, it looks like a kind of a retro action movie. It's gotten some pretty good reviews, so we'll see. Hey, did either of you guys watch Sisu? It was like a can't remember if it was from Netherlands or Poland or Finland. I think it was Finland. It was a Finnish dude. It's freaking awesome. Like, it's about a no spoilers given. There's an older gentleman who was a commando. It takes place in like World War II era, and he has kind of left his commando days behind and is digging for gold and finds a massive gold mine, and it's just like him and his dog. So he decides to go to town and turn the money in, and at the time period is when the Germans are leaving Finland, and so they're doing like they're basically burning and pillaging the countryside. So it's Nazis and stuff are doing that kind of thing on the countryside, and he comes across some Nazis that have some prisoners, and they're just kind of going along doing what they want on their way out of the country because they've been chased out. And they take his gold, and then he goes, what would be the term? He goes nutso crazio. That's a good way to describe it. And the whole movie is like, he doesn't say anything the entire movie. He fights them, and it's amazing. He has no dialogue until the end of the movie, which is a lot of fun, like, when you think about it. But it's awesome. Yeah, you need to check it out, dude. I think it's on streaming now. 100% worth it. It's bloody, but it very much kind of reminds me of the old, like, Rambo First Blood type stuff, except much more modern. Really well made, looks really good. Some awesome practical effects. Why can't we work on movies like that here, Logan? It's not fair. Did you ever see that Brothers movie that we worked on? Was it called Brothers? I don't remember. Oh, wait. Oh yeah. You mean Qtran? Yeah, she's awesome. Uh, Qtran. Hope I got her name right. Quintran. I feel like a total dork for not being able to remember. She was super cool. I'm happy for her. She seemed like she knew what she wanted, which is, as you know, not the normal. What do you think? Do you think we're going to get back to work, Logan? Nobody else cares. But you and I can sit here and chat because you're my one friend. Quintran, thank you. Hey, here's an idea, Logan. Maybe we do electricians in the industry, and we go and like get some firefighters to let us, like put on some of their work clothes, their suits, and we can do like a calendar to put out at Christmas with a bunch of different electricians, posing like we're models. I mean, I'm kidding. I don't want to do that, but that would be kind of funny. I wouldn't do it. I don't look like a model. We could find some though. We did that when I was in college. Our rugby team was raising funds, and that was one of the things we did. Is some of the more outgoing guys went down to the fire station, and we had a photographer come and do really cheeseball photos of us in different stuff. I can't find a copy of it. I used to have a copy, and in all the moving, I must have lost it somewhere, which is probably a good thing because I wouldn't want that to end up on the internet forever. My dear mother still goes and looks me up on the internet ever so often to try to see if I've done anything inappropriate that she can find. Ever so often, she just Googles me to see. I have yet to be found out. Thank goodness. Is it? Oh man, sad I'm missing it. I'll have to check it out. It's the one bonus of painting all day, or a couple hours a day, is I can go rewatch some of the stuff that I miss. Trying to think. I watched something and it made me think of you, Logan. I can't remember what it was. No joke, I wasn't going to make any kind of jokes about barnyard animals. Legitimately, I was watching something. Oh, what do you think about this whole Harry Potter remake stuff that might happen? Would you be excited for a Harry Potter TV show? Do you think they can strike gold twice? Man, it's going to be interesting to see if they can. I mean, like they struck gold with that casting. It's going to be really interesting to see how they cast, because like they just really did choose some of the best people for those roles. Like they just all of them. I mean, not all of them are like the most original actors, you know, but like for kid actors, they were fantastic. Adam Driver is Snape. Yeah, I could see that. See, the hard part is when you had such an amazing Snape, it's very difficult, in my opinion. Even though I think Adam Driver could do it, are you wanting him to play the Alan Rickman Snape or do his own thing? That's where I think you're going to run into the problem with a lot of this stuff. Um, I don't know any kid actors, so I can't make any recommendations for kid actors. But let's see, what are some other ones? Who would you pick for Voldemort? Tom Hardy. Just kidding. Tom Hardy is Voldemort. That'd be interesting. He did a good job in what was the Peaky Blinders. Um, let's see. There's not really any character actors out there on that level, but I mean, I guess there are. There just haven't been a lot of great shows. Um, Man, who would do you think they're going to start with the kids as young as they were, or do you think they'll start later in the story so the kids are older? Because, dude, I mean, it's like if they start at the same age bracket, that's going to be intense trying to find some kids that'll like can pick it up from that level. Yeah. Which I mean, I guess, yeah, who knows? I do not envy them at all having to cast that. That sounds like one of the hardest casting options from the get go. Um, Trying to think who would be fun. I mean, you know, some of the actors could actually come back and reprise roles if you really wanted them to. Um, who would you want for McGonagall? I'm just kidding. I know things about Harry Potter. I know names. Would you want any of the original cast to come back? There's the question. You know, I like Warwick Davis, but from what I saw of the Willow reboot, he just kind of mailed it in. I would go with other actors. I would. He's had a lot of great roles. I'm sure there are other. Um, yeah, I would totally go with other people. I would give some opportunities out there, bring in the next generation. I mean, yeah, you can bring him in, but uh, picking the Weasleys, that's gonna be a hard one. Man, the casting, dude, Gary Oldman, like, how do you beat? I don't think you can beat the first casting. Yeah, I mean, they actually found twins the first time around. Collins Murphy. Oh, you mean the guy, Cillian Murphy? Is that his name? Cillian. I can't remember if that's his name. Uh, maybe. The biggest question is what role is Johnny Depp playing? That's the biggest question. I think he should be Beatrix Lestrange. There's a bunch of British actors. Who was it? Michelle. Oh, geez. Can't remember her name. She was on that movie in Vegas. Um, she was also in Downton Abbey. She would be great in one of the professorial roles, maybe even one of the mother roles. Oh, yeah. I mean, everybody replaced him. I was more of a joke of what role is he taking because he's in everything. Um, Jim Caviezel as Voldemort? Or is he blacklisted nowadays? Of course, they want Johnny Depp back as Sparrow. They realize they're going to have to pay so much money to get him back as Sparrow. Jeez. Couldn't they just come up with another original idea and have like good writers? Trying to think who I've seen recently. I would try to avoid any of the big talent. Like I would avoid like Zendaya for anything. I would avoid any of those big named people and try to like just develop a new fan base with new people. I would totally just I would avoid anybody that has had a Marvel presence recently for the main roles. Um, What do you think? I heard a little bit of a rumor of Christopher Nolan doing the next James Bond. It was probably just somebody trying to speak it into reality. A Nolan Bond movie. Uh, what I would do, since they're down, they don't have. You would like something knee, but keep their CGI. Matt Smith as Remus. Yeah, yeah, I can take that. After mainly, I wouldn't have if you were just considering the Doctor Who time, even though I enjoyed him on Doctor Who. Uh, but after seeing House of Dragon, I 100% agree with you. Um, Mark Wahlberg as Dumbledore or Hagrid. Just kidding. The Rock as Hagrid. I was just waiting for you to respond to that and be like, heck no. Um, yeah, it is. Man, who would you put as Dumbledore? That's like stinking difficult. Because you need him around a while, so you don't want to go too old unless you're okay with replacing the same way the movies had to, which is very sad to me. Uh, I don't know. I kind of would have enjoyed a TV show that's not just the Harry Potter storyline again. I could have gone for something new. I'd tell you my concept, but then it would get out there and I'd have to kill you. Like, so much is left unfixed at the end of the Harry Potter movies. What made you gag? The Rock as Dumbledore? Jason Mimosas as Hagrid? Come on, Jason Mimosas as Hagrid? You would totally be into that, wouldn't you? Yeah, Dumbledore is definitely. I mean, you could that would be interesting because you could go. See, they have so many like theater trained actors in Britain that because they're they're going to shoot over there at the Warner Brother properties. It's totally going to become the Harry Potter studios. And if they keep the sets up, they could make buku's money forever. People coming to visit, kind of like the Shire, Lord of the Rings stuff. Um, what if Gary Oldman came back for Dumbledore? I don't know if he would make it. He's getting up there. John Malkovich as Dumbledore. Steve Buscemi as Dobby. Yeah? Steve Buscemi as Dobby. Man, it's hard to like think of people. The other question is, would you bring in people from other big shows, even if it's a smaller role? Like, would you bring in Ewan McGregor, or would you try to keep it people that are lesser known to have it be its own thing? I'm saying names to make me. Just to mess with you more than anything. Um, but I know you're laughing. I know you're laughing. Big names. Steve has the look for Dobby. I mean, we know they're going to go find some kids. Um, it'll just be interesting to see what they choose. Hagrid, do you think they'll choose somebody really big, or will they make him big in CG? Man, who was it? Somebody was talking about One Piece today. Did you end up watching One Piece? Did you end up going in there and checking it out? Well, basically, it was like on One Piece. There is CG, but like a lot of their sets were full built um, been like trying to catch little pieces of it online, but I was listening to some people talk about it, that they were commenting that doing CG generated backdrops nowadays, since everybody is doing so much, Warner Brothers, DC, everybody, it's actually they thought it was cheaper for them to build the sets than it was for them to do the CG thing. Which I once I found that out, I greatly appreciated it, because it's kind of gives it that realism. I hope the Fantastic Beasts stuff, like I felt like they just did too much CG for me. So I would hope they would either reuse. Do you think they'll reuse sets? Do you think they'll build them new? Because they kept that stuff. They didn't get rid of it. Oh man, that's you can only hope that they do a good job. That's really it. Would you put Benedict Cumberbatch in there anywhere? Maybe in a small role? I don't know. Part of me would want to not bring a bunch of people in. Part of me would want to keep it like a little bit lesser known. I mean, I guess they did have people doing cameos. No, see, so the people they brought in, like, they weren't huge in the US, but they were known in the UK moreover than. Because, I mean, Gary Oldman wasn't like a household name necessarily. There were people that knew who he was, but it was all the cinephiles. It wasn't like, do it, buddy. I'll keep talking to myself. Actually, I'm kind of hungry, so I may bounce anyways. Thanks for coming in while you were watching your soccer game and listening to me talk about nothing and not explain any of the painting things I'm doing, because I don't want to give away my tricks. Come build some Legos with me next week. Well, here's kind of where we're ending up. I think I may do a little bit more on this armor here, just so that I feel like I accomplished a little something. I'm not doing. So one of the things that I've learned, thankfully, from my my awesome painting coach Aaron Lovejoy at Miniature Monthly, is when you have a lot of closet of doom, shame, whatever you want to call it, something that I've really tried hard to do is to pick and choose when I'm going to be spending a lot more time on them, like eight hours on a model. That's a lot of time for anybody, especially if you're not a competitor. Like, I don't go to any of that stuff. I don't compete. I'm not interested in that necessarily. Someday, maybe. I don't feel like my talents are good enough. I've seen even some of the people that have gone that are kind of mediocre are still way better than me. But figuring out like the quality level that you want. So like I said, this is the Marshall character. It's one of the potential leaders that you can have Came in the box kit. It's not the coolest one. You know, they've got ones on mounts and everything. It's an awesome model. But like you can see the other two guys, you know, like I didn't spend this amount of time on them. I think both of these guys were painted. I did non-metallic on shield on one, metallic on the other. Like they're not, I didn't spend an enormous amount of time. They're not the most amazing paint job ever, but they're also not important characters in the army. So one of the things that I have learned doing the Patreon and taking the classes with some of these guys is spending the time on the things that matter the most and go faster. So like I don't like painting regular metallics. I like doing the non-metallic. But I also know that that takes a lot more time, and I'm still learning how to do it. So, with this character, I did not mind doing metallic or non-metallic. At some point, I may decide I'd, you know, go back to using metallics more often, but I find this is way more entertaining to me. It's much more interesting. So doing a little stippling, doing a little edge highlighting, just kind of the non-metallic, you can just do so much more interesting things. Granted, the time and the effort grows. I recommend, even if you're never wanting to go places like contests and stuff, I recommend everybody learn how to do non-metallic. It is very satisfying. Even to get like mediocre product is like you can do so many interesting things to create just a different look on your models. You can let's put some brown down. It's just, there's so much you can do. And then mixing in, like I will probably use some metallic paints when I paint the rest of Angron on stream. But I'll use it for areas that it's like they're either too small to want to do non-metallic on, like they're just like tiny little chains on him. Because you can do those, add a wash, call it quits. And that's how I kind of define it nowadays, is if it's something I really want to enjoy painting, I do non-metallic. And if I'm just kind of like getting it out there, I may do some non-metallic, but I will primarily do, oh no, I'm doing the wrong color. That's okay. I'll keep it here. I found it a way that you can draw attention places as you do metallic, and then you know, dim it down a lot, wash it down, glaze it down when you do your real metallic. But you can use that to your advantage, having both of those in your arsenal, because they have different feels. I just like the metallic, non-metallic so much more. It's just so much more interesting and challenging. So this is one of my favorite Vallejo colors, Flat Earth. I love it. I love it dearly. Okay, well, thank you, Logan, Nighthawk Games, Mr. Tom, for tuning in and giving me somebody to talk to, because it's not the easiest thing to talk to yourself on stream. I mean, Granted, I talk to myself alone all the time. But I'll see y'all on the next one. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe I'll come in and paint some more on this Freeguild. Maybe I'll start painting on, go back to Angron, so that people see a finished product on stream. Thank you very much for coming. Talk to you later.